Hey guys, just looking at the score, struggling to process it. If there's any way to help someone understand what it's like to be a St Kilda supporter, it's really just get them to experience this game, get them to sit down and watch this game in full, and then you'll understand exactly what St Kilda fans go through every single year. Now, I'll just go through the score. It was North 56, St Kilda 54, and we lost by 2 points. It's kind of impossible to think that we've lost a game where two teams have scored under 60 points by 2 points. We were, I think, a game high 30 points up in late in the second quarter. And then from that point on, we kicked 1 goal 5 to 6 goals 6. We just stopped at a halt. Everything that was working in the first half completely went out the window. And we just let North dictate the game. We let them run around. We let them look like they were a gun team. They're not a gun team by any stretch of the imagination. And, the whole lead up to this game, I wanted us to come out and make a statement, and I thought we did that in the first half. We could have been further ahead. That second quarter, I think we had 22 tackles inside 50 to 6. We could have been so fucking far ahead. It would have been ridiculous. It would have been game over if we kicked straight. We've kicked 7 goals 12 in the end. 7 goals 12. It's the exact same story from last year, and I don't want to be all negative. It's round 1. We've got a lot of new faces, a lot of, we haven't had that much time to gel. Preseason was positive. You're not going to win every game, but to lose this game the way we lost it is really upsetting, because the first half we dictated the play, we took the game on. North were boring. Even I was making fun of North, thinking, what a shit team, And then they win the second half. They win the second half, they win the game. And when you're 30 points up, when they've only kicked 56 points for the entire bloody game, I don't know how that happens. That should be an unattainable lead. When you're 30 points up and the other team that actually ends up winning the game kicks under 60 points, it's essentially a 10-goal lead. It should be a game over if you're keeping them to that low of a score. I mean, imagine at halftime someone comes to you. You don't see the rest of the game. You're like, okay, you're 5 goals up, and North end up only kicking 56 points for the game. You're like, shit, we must have hammered them. We must have killed them in the end. We would have kicked over 100 points. And they're like, no, you actually lost the game by 2 points and you scored 54. It's like, holy fuck, what is going on? I don't want to harp too much on the negatives, but when you hear about what the government's doing and there's so much happening there, and this might be the only game. It looks like round 2 might not go ahead, and to know that there's a chance that the season will just stop, and this is the feeling we're going to just be mulling on for months and months and months until maybe next year, whenever the season comes back. We don't even know. That's kind of a sickening feeling, because I wanted to just, knowing, that if the season gets paused at some point, postponed, if we have a big win, then maybe there's that feeling of, oh, well, at least we had the big win. We can enjoy that. We can talk about that for months and joke about winning the premiership like we did in the off-season. But now it's reality, and if you look at, the stats and what Ben Cunnington, I've got the stats here in front of me. He's had 25. He always kills us. He's had 176 Supercoach points. Our lowest ranked player, I wonder if I can order this. Our lowest ranked player was Dylan Robertson, who had, 7 disposals. Our best player was Jack Billings with 18 disposals. That's not great. I thought, if we're going to be positive about it, I thought the first half was great. I thought that's exactly the sort of game we want to play. You want to get more goals on the board, obviously, but in the end, we couldn't, but I thought the method was right. I will go through the comments in a sec, Cooper, so just give me a sec. I just want to give my 2 cents before I go into everyone else's 2 cents. I thought Jack Steele was Jack Steele. I thought he was great. Ben Long, I was really worried about his ankle, but he came on. I thought he did a good job. I thought Zach Jones, it's pretty much a Zach Jones sort of game. There was so many nice things he did, so many things that he took the game on and got us out of a tough position. But then there were so many moments when, he was too slow, or, he just didn't execute the kick exactly where it should have been going, and ended up being a turnover and North get a score from it. So that was the disappointing part of his game, and that's been talked about plenty in the off-season from Sydney supporters, from general AFL fans that want to bring him down. But I thought he did his best. It was his first game in a new club. Hanbury was great. I thought he was a very clean sort of game. Rowan Marshall, I hate to say it, but I think Goldstein smashed him. I think Goldstein got North over the line in that second half, and although Ryder, kicked a goal and rotated well with Marshall, and Marshall had a chance to win it late, it was Max King kicking 2 goals was good, but again, 5 kicks and minimal impact on the game. Tim Membry only, 6 kicks and 6 disposals for the game for Membry, that hurts. Jade Gresham obviously didn't play the second half. And the other disappointing thing is we're 5 goals up. North, I think, finished with 1 on the bench. I know it was shorter quarters, so that probably helped them in the end, but they're only 4 minutes shorter. And in the end, when you're 5 goals up, the other team's got injuries and you're on top, you got to win the game. And we couldn't win the game. And that's really disappointing. And now we don't know what's going to happen next week. I think we've got West Coast if we do play, but that's how it is. I'm interested to see just how we went in terms of inside 50s. We had same marks, more kicks, more handballs, more disposals. Our conversion rate was 38%. We had more clangers, less inside 50s. So there was, a couple of disappointing stats there. And it's going to, no doubt the players are going to be pissed off because they don't know if they're playing next week. And, the best part about losing in the AFL is you've got the next week to make up for it, and you might not have that, so that's really sad. And it would have been funny that if the season was postponed after round 1, if you come out with a big win and you finish on top of the ladder and that's the season, maybe you get awarded the cup, it would have been hilarious to win the cup after 1 game, but it is what it is, and it's just a really shit end to such a positive off season. But I'm happy to go through some questions, so keep them coming. There's been heaps, so I might go all the way to the top, so make sure that you guys are in there. Let's go. Thought Rats worked on kicking a ball straight and basic skills. Cameron says, I wouldn't blame Rats for that. He does what he does during the week in training, and at the end of the day, when it comes to being on the field, it's players' responsibility, so it's on them, and they didn't execute, and he has to take some responsibility, but the bulk of it would be on the players. Let's keep going. Stuart says, trying to understand why this happened, but on a brighter note, the worst we can do on the ladder is 13th. Season over, so okay. I don't know if that's a positive sort of take on it, but I'm hoping the season's not over, but it's hard to tell. 7-12 doesn't win you games ever, 100%. 12-7 wins this game comfortably the other way around. We had a few posters, a few like Jack Loney snapping it over his head and it just misses last second, but there were so many chances where Rowan Marshall late could have kicked straight. Dan Butler should have backed himself a few times. Both times he just tried to chip it and it didn't work out. Shane says that that's more disappointing than any game played last year. Effing disgrace, and shows Ratton has no more control over this team than Richo did. Effing joke. I think that's a bit harsh. I wouldn't go too heavy on Ratton just yet. There were some very nice things in that first half. We can't ignore that. That we were on top. We were dominating them. We can't say that, we didn't deserve to have a 5-goal lead. We should have had a 6-7 goal lead if we had a kick straight. It's just the second half, particularly that, the first 10 minutes of that third quarter, we were peppering. We just needed to break clear and kick 1 or 2 goals, and it would have been a 40-point buffer. Game over at that point. We don't. All that energy of getting that goal that we don't get in the end goes down the other end. North kick a couple, get the momentum, and they kept it for the rest of the game. And that's our players' fault. We couldn't stop them. The owner says, thank God for shorter quarters. It could have been worse. Marshall did nothing today, says Cooper. Oh, God, I hate when we lose because all the comments are negative, but it's hard to think of many positives after that. Pete says, this wasn't Rat's fault at all. You could see what he was trying to implement in terms of game plan. The problem was the actual suspects piss-fighting around, giving up for some unknown reason. Rats will give the playing group a spray after this performance. He said, if you don't perform, you're not guaranteed a game. There'll be a lot of changes if we do play next week. Players like Ben Patton would get it would be risky. Josh Battle could have been nice in the forward line. Seb Ross did a few nice things, but also did a few really disappointing things. Dean Kent, didn't do enough for me. Missed a few chances at goal. Cooper says King isn't ready. Bruce is a big loss, although, to be fair, Bruce did F all for the Bulldogs on the weekend, so Max King did fine and we got a game under his belt. Luke says we should have swapped Dean Kent for Battle next week. It could well be a chance, maybe support in the back line or even go forward. So Josh Battle was a big one that didn't play this week. Also Jack Sinclair. I don't know if there's a chance for Sinclair or even Caulfield. There'll be players like that have a chance. Tanay says that it's like they didn't practice goal kicking in the off-season. I don't understand how they can kick it out on the full. Pre-season looked so promising. After that game, I don't have high hopes for the season. We won round 1 last year and look where we ended up. That's what Julio reckons. Jesus, Dean Kent has to go. Dean says, game of percentages, North players flat. Shaw saw it and got off his bum and went to the bench. Ratton saw his team flat after half-time. Sat his ass in the box and never left it. No crowd to lift us. Sideline got North over the line. They were very vocal, the sideline. The bench in particular just were cheering them on, and that added some sort of crowd atmosphere to it and really egged them on. And, when there's no supporters, it's really hard to sway momentum. And I think that really hurt us today. Thanks for all the comments, guys. Even though it's a shit performance, thanks. Always enjoy reading out what you guys have to say. I hate the sound of my own voice, so I don't want to rant too much. Brendan says, once again, the accuracy does us in. Hill is elite. Kent ball use looked shit house. Long found a new home down back was awesome. Best on ground shattered once again. James says, now we have to wait another 6 months to watch our team get hyped and let us down again. Jeez, harsh comments, but, probably worth it. Cameron says, definitely not blaming Rats, just saying that the player should have done a lot better and improve from where he came from. I'm not going to blame anything on the umpiring, but there was so many passages in that second quarter where our pressure was amazing and there were several holding the balls there that the umpire didn't pay directly in front of goal, and that was really, really disappointing. And we could have gotten easily 2-3 more goals out of that. Need Webster off half-back for his ball use. Don't know why he's been forgotten, says Mitchell. Webster, probably one that could come in. I know Ben Long's probably locked himself pretty well down in that back line. Hunter Clark had a decent game. What were his stats in the end? Hunter Clark, he had 18. Our most, Brad Hill, what did Brad Hill finish with? He set up 2 very good goals. Brad Hill only had 12. So that's, for his debut, that's not positive. 12 disposals, but he did some really nice things. And it's just a weird feeling, watching these games. No crowd, other teams giving 100%. It's like if the players get a whisper at halftime the season's not going ahead, then they're probably not going to risk injury for next season. And I know this is a stretch, but if I was playing and I knew the season really didn't mean much, then it'd be mentally very tough. But I'm sure they're professionals, and that's what they paid to do, and they would be wanting to win as much as any other time. Stuart says, did Butler having a go at the umps change anything? What's your opinion? No, I don't think so. I thought it was ridiculous. He was clearly tripped. That's a reportable offence every day of the week. I know the North player's probably going to get a fine during the week for a couple of grand, but it was so blatantly obvious that he tripped him. I don't understand how anyone can... there were boundary umpires around it. I don't think that changes momentum. I don't think that changes the game at all. So, yeah. Jake says, good name by the way there. Jake, North Melbourne looked locked out forward line, down mostly. We could get it in there, but it'll come straight back out. I thought that too, and they pumped it in there. We struggled to clear it, cleanly in that second half. We just bombed it out, and then they flicked it back. And I thought the first half we didn't bomb, we hardly bombed, and we looked clean. We lowered the eyes, and it was positive. We really wanted to get the ball in the hands of the good ball users. Second half, the good ball users in Billings and in Bradley Hill and these sort of blokes, they didn't get their hands on it enough, and not in enough space to hurt us. Or to hurt the opposition. It was just to bomb it out and clear it. And you're not going to win games when you do that. Cooper says, Dunstan, 33% efficiency, too many inside mids, too slow. 33% from his, what did he have in the end? 21 disposals, not great, although he was the second highest. He was the highest ranked player in the AFL fantasy scoring. Highest ranked player in Supercoach was Jack Billings, and then Jack Steele, followed by Ben Long, believe it or not. And Ben Long was off for a big chunk of that game. So for Ben Long to have a game like that and have 14 disposals and have his impact is pretty great for someone that did his ankle and came back on. So kudos to him, and he's a rare highlight from the day. It's got so built up. I mean, to be fair, going into round one with no crowd, not being able to go the game, knowing the rounds are 17 rounds now, and there might not be another game after this, it's hard to get pumped up. It's even more hard now, it's a tough one, but it's hard to judge, what went wrong really. We just kind of stopped in that second half. I know North definitely upped the ante and we didn't match them there, but first half showed enough, and we should have buried them after being 5 goals up, and that's been our issue for years and years. We get a lead and we can't stick it, and it's unlike us to start fast. Usually we start slow and we have to chase. To start fast and get a buffer like that in a low-scoring game is, it's critical, but it's even more important to be able to hold it off when the team arrests that momentum back, and we couldn't do that. And we can't blame them for winning. They took it off us and we stuffed it, and we let Ben Cunnington off the chain, and yeah, it was, in the end, it was our own doing, our own fault. So we can only blame ourselves. And when you kick 7-12 after kicking 6-7 in the first half, yeah, you're going to lose. You're always going to lose kicking a score like that. And it's really disappointing after such a positive preseason, but that is what it is. I'm going to leave it there, guys. I don't really want to keep talking because I'm just going to keep saying the same stuff and reading out the same negative comments. But keep them coming. I'll still respond to them during the week or even later tonight. Then yeah, that's it. That's how it is. We lose by 2 points in front of a crowd of 0 people, and we don't know what's going to happen for the rest of the competition. So we'll know by tomorrow, I'm guessing, if the round 2 is going ahead. Round 2 is going to be a dedicated match to Spud. And although now no crowd, it still would have been special to do a tribute for that great player and that great man in the end that died late last year. So, yeah, really, really sad that might not actually get to go ahead, or the season might not get to go ahead. So we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, keep the comments coming. Stay tuned for the Tuesday night podcast. I'll let you know. I'll post it when it's live. Saints TV podcast with Joycey and Marshy, and we'll talk about it in more detail. Hopefully put some sort of humour to such a shit day. But hopefully you guys make sure to stay clear of any sick people. If you're sick yourself, don't go into public. Don't do anything. Stay safe and stay healthy. And I'll see you when I see you. Go Saints.